ladies and gentlemen, I am Matthew for StopDropGame. Today we're going to be continuing our Let's Play for Prison Architect. So when we left off previously, I just finished setting up the holding cell and everything that I needed to keep the prisoners happy there. So we're going to be continuing on from there today. Now, if you haven't seen that first video, I'm going to leave a link down in the doobly-doo. Make sure that you go and check that out first and then come back here and watch this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe the video. It really helps me out. Also, share it on social media, get those views up. I am going to be looking at doing competitions and giving away games and those kinds of things in the future, but I do need community support to be able to do that kind of stuff. So make sure you get behind the channel, really support me. I've also gone through and set up a dedicated Twitter for StopDropGame, and it's just simply at StopDropGame. So make sure you go and follow that. I'm going to be having daily tweets and updates on what's going on. I'm also going to be mentioning competitions and bits and pieces on there. So links to all that and more down in the doobly-doo though. So make sure you do go and check that out, and that's really going to help me out in getting more viewers, more subscribers, and growing this channel to become a great gaming channel for you guys to get exposure to some games. I'm also going to be doing snapshots of games, which are just going to be one-off episodes. In the future, they're going to be possibly 10 to 15 minutes long, and it's just going to give a quick rundown on some games that I have been looking at but haven't had a chance to do a full Let's Play. They'll be released throughout the week, but the two Let's Plays that I'm doing at the moment are Turmoil, and videos for that are getting released every Tuesday. There's 4 or 5 episodes that I've recorded for that already, but the links are going to be down in the doobly-doo as well. So go and check out the playlist for that, and Prison Architect, which is obviously what I'm working on today. I'm going to be releasing videos for those every Friday, and again, you'll be able to stay updated on Twitter, so that as soon as the videos are released, tweets will go out about it, so you can get it as up to date with these Let's Plays as possible. So that being said, let's dive back into it. So when we left off previously, we'd just gone through and finished our first confinement area, setting everything up for our prisoners. And we were looking at progressing onwards from there, going through and setting up our first actual prison block, or our first prison cell wing. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today. I've already got some staff and everything running the place, and I'm going to be addressing a few things over here. Like I've got prisoners waiting to go into solitary and locked down because they were found with contraband in the reception when they were strip searched. So let's go through and just jump straight in, and we'll get this underway. Now, the first thing that I want to do is make sure that I go through and I have all the grants that I want. So now, when I did leave off previously, the accountant had just finished getting the extra grant approved, so that means I can actually have 3 different grants running at the same time. Now the chief is just about to unlock the deployment, so what that's going to do for us, there we go, what that's going to do for us is actually allow us to allocate guards to specific areas within our prison, high traffic areas and areas where breaks are likely areas where fights are likely to break out, such as the shower and those kinds of areas. So now the next thing I'm going to do, so the warden's currently working on maintenance, so I've got him doing that. The next thing that I'm going to do is get the security chief to work on surveillance. That'll allow me to go through and actually set up security cameras to cover areas that I don't have security deployed in. And I'm going to get the bank loan set up via the accountant. Just makes it a little bit easier in the future if I am running low on money. It gives me somewhere to go with it. So now I'm going to go through. Now I really want to focus on finishing this kitchen as well as getting that shower underway. So we'll go through, we'll grab these for the shower heads and just fill these out. and that'll give us the what we need for those requirements. Now, I'm gonna deploy some guards here in the holding cell in the canteen. Now, it's just done through this deployment menu down here. Now, you'll notice there's a couple of grayed out boxes here. So this one's for guard patrols, this is for dog patrols, and for armored patrols. Now, they will actually get opened up as I unlock the armory and the dogs and those kinds of things and patrols, excuse me. And then they will allow me to monitor and sort of keep track of my prison more effectively. I can also go through and actually tag specific areas based on if prisoners are min sec, medium sec, or max sec. So depending on what security level they're at, or I can just set it to shared. I can also do supermax, or if there's snitches that I need to protect, I can have them in their own protected area, or I can have it just completely open to anyone. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and do staff only for areas where I know that prisoners are never going to need to be, such as these. There's going to be one or two situations where I am going to need prisoners to be able to go into the office, like if they are going and having a chat with the psychologist when it becomes unlocked and that kind of stuff. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat today, so bear with me, guys. I'll try and not let it impact the video too much. But that deployment setup allows you to go through and take care of that kind of stuff as well. So it is a really handy little tool. Now, I also want to make sure that I've got a guard in the shower and the common room. I don't have any prisoners working in the kitchen at the moment, but when I do, that's when I want to have prisoners in there as well. Now, one thing to be mindful of is your guard tally up here. So at the moment I've got a total of 5 guards and 4 of them are stationed, which means I've only got 1 available. Now, in order to actually bring prisoners into my prison, I need guards available to be working and to be able to move prisoners about. So I'm going to get a few more guards, just so there's a few running around free, being able to do stuff. Now, the next thing that I want to focus on is building a visitation room, and I also want to close off the open areas of my prison at the moment, because if one of my prisoners gets out through one of these doors, they can make a beeline for one of the borders, and if they reach the border, then they're actually going to escape, and we definitely don't want that to happen, because that does come back to impact our finances, and it actually registers in here that prisoners have escaped and that kind of thing. And you'll see here that we've got like days without incidents, so that's without riots and those kinds of things, but it does come back to impact that, and it can really affect what's happening with your finances. So we want to make sure that's not an issue as well. So I'm gonna go through and just close off that wall there, close that off up there as well, and I'm going to build a visitation area sort of in this area that's just going to allow me to go through and meet some of these requirements for the visitation rights and get access to that money that I've got waiting there for me, that extra $5,000. So now what I'm doing with this is actually going through the visitation tables are 2x3, so by going through and blocking it out like that, I've got space for the visitation tables, and I know how large I actually want and need my room to be. So that's going to allow me to put the blueprint down like that, and then just pop excuse me, then just pop the foundation down, and we'll also go in and pop a large cell door down there. So that's going to go through and get built and allow my prisoners to get visitors come in and meet those visitation requirements. Now I'm also going to just fence this off, so I'm working with an enclosed area again, and that'll just make sure that my prisoners don't try and escape while they're being transferred to and from the visitation room. Now the other thing that I'm going to want to do is, with more people coming in and out of the prison, such as family members, to visit the prisoners, they are actually going to, some of them are going to try and bring in contraband into the prison to actually give to the prisoners. So a good way to prevent that from happening is just set up some security gates at the entrance to the prison. Now, the metal detectors themselves do need to be specifically powered, so we want to make sure that we are running power up to those. It does need to connect directly to it, as opposed to lights that just sort of branch off automatically like we've got here. But once they're powered, any prisoners or any visitors coming into the prison, or even any items coming into the prison, I believe, will actually get detected by that. So that's definitely going to be a huge help for us. So now what I want to do is go through and set some of these up. So I've got enough guards that I can sort of cover that and still have guards moving prisoners back and forth. So that gives me a good overall reach of what's going on at the moment. Now I also need to go through and actually set up the area for the visitation room, just so that we can meet that requirement. So let's go through and have a look. Where are you? There we are, visitation. So I go through, set that up, and then I come in, grab the visitation tables, and that will allow our prisoners to actually see visitors and that kind of stuff. Now you can also have these visitation booths, which actually physically separate the prisoners from the guards. Sorry, the prisoners from the visitors, and it lets you know which side the prisoner is going to be on and which side the visitor is going to be on, as you can see there with the little labeling. So if you want to set it up so that they can't have physical contact, that's another way that you can do it. And have that sort of towards the outside of your prison. I prefer the visitation tables just because I've gotten used to using them from the early beta, and when they were set up before the booths were introduced recently in the last couple of months. So that's what I like to have in there, just because of the way that I operate and how I utilize it. Now you'll notice that it's taking quite a while for the tables to get here. That's because a lot of my guys are off doing this stuff with the trees, which I had gone through and done in the previous game. I'm not too concerned about that at the moment, because the rest of my prison is sort of up and functioning reasonably well, so that's not causing me too much of a headache. But what I'm going to do now is actually go through and set up the first the first cell block that I'm after. So what I'll do is I'll click on this. Now this is going to give us 40,000, so it's going to give us 20,000 straight up to build the first cell block, and all I need to do for that is raise my prisoner capacity to 15. So so that basically just means I need to have 15 beds in 15 cells, or 15 beds in shared cells. So we've got this. So we've got the cell there, got the holding cell. Where are we? So the dormitories are actually the shared cells, where you can have multiple bunks or multiple beds in the cells themselves, whereas the individual cells are designed for individual inmates. You know, and will only hold one person to apply to your capacity. So I'm going to go through and build the individual cells. Now, one of the things that they've added in recently towards the end of the development of the game is these basic cells, which will give you a bed and a toilet, and that's pretty much it. It's a 2x3 cell that's sort of set up to accommodate the very basics of what's going on with the prisoners. You can fit other things in there, like books and other bits and pieces, and I am going to be going through and popping more stuff in there, but just for the ease of going through and setting up, I'm just going to drop a few of these down really quickly so that we can meet that base requirement, and then we can obviously go through and focus on improving the quality of the cells and everything a little bit later on. Now, one of the other things that you do need to keep in mind, I'm going to keep a space there because I'm actually going to want to extend out this way and do more construction and access for the prisoners. So I'm going to leave a bit of a space there to be able to do that. Now, oops, I've actually messed that up a little bit. Let's. So, okay, I'm going through setting those up. So there we go. That's spaced in a much better manner now. So now my construction guys will go through, build all of those, and build the foundations for it. Now I'm actually going to be filling in the rest of the foundation with this, so that it is actually all enclosed. Now I may need to go through and actually put the walls in for some of this, but that's okay. I can handle that pretty quickly. Now, like I said, the other thing is that you can actually add books, bookshelves, and other bits and pieces in here. Now, the thing is, you can actually put all these in, and even though we're taking up this space that it looks like it's needed to walk around in, your prisoners will still be able to walk around perfectly fine within the cells themselves. That's not a huge issue. So don't feel like you're actually cutting it short by doing that. Now, when going through and setting up cells will actually have different qualities and different levels based off of what you've incorporated into them. So things like windows that let them see to the outside, and having the books in place, and all that kind of stuff, all of that works towards improving the quality of the cell itself. And the higher the quality cell a prisoner is in, the less likely they are to riot or misbehave or basically cause trouble while in your prison. So now the way that it was said that it worked previously is prisoners that were in a lower than average cell were more likely to play up. Prisoners in a high average cell were less likely to play up, which when I looked at it sort of gave me the impression that at least 50% or just under 50% of your prisoners, if they were in lower quality cells, would always be looking to play up. So there's a few ways that I've thought around that, where you can just create one or two lower than average prison cells, and then the rest will automatically be above average. But that it's not something that I've tested, and I don't know whether they've adjusted that since I last played the game and last had a look at the details for it. But it's one of those things to keep in mind, and it's something that I'll possibly look into before I do the next video, just to see exactly what's going on, and see if it has been changed or if there is any more information out there about it. So now I need to also connect all this up so it'll have power. So I'm going through and doing that to set all that up. So that's going through, and they're going to create all of that. Now there's a few other things that I want to look at. Come back here and look at this. So the maintenance team has now been researched. So I can now go through research groundkeeping, cleaning, and prison labor. So what this means is, well, research and groundkeeping and cleaning will basically maintain a lot of this stuff. Like, you'll see here that as time goes on, these areas get more dirty, which actually brings down the overall appeal of the prison, and it affects the prisoners and everything, and sort of affects their needs, which is something that we'll need to open it. So we're actually going to open that after we open the education up. So, and we'll also get the patrols going there and the land expansion. Now I want to unlock the cleaning. Now it is telling me that I do need a foreman for that, so I need to hire one of those just from here. And thankfully we've already got the offices set up for them, so that's not really going to be too much of an inconvenience or anything like that for us. Okay, so we've gone through and set that up. Now, with these rooms, it's actually showing me there's no canteen accessible by these cells. Now, that's partly because all of this is fenced off, and it's actually deeming that traveling all the way around there is too long a distance. So I can actually fix that quite easily, or I should be able to fix that quite easily, just by changing the fenced off area. So by closing those off and removing that previous fence that I'd put in place, that should actually fix that problem. Now we are still waiting for all of the piping and utilities put in place, so that these will all get powered and watered. So, and here we go. That's going through there. Now these are still going through and getting squared away with this. So now it's still showing these as some of these as insecure, and that's because there's still walls and bits and pieces being built for those. So we do want to make sure that those are closed off. Now what I can do here is actually go through and build, I'm probably going to build another canteen over here, just so that I've got more area, well, got closer access to meet this requirement, because it looks like it's not actually going to access that from over here, but that's okay. That's something that I can work around. So let's quickly jump back into the planning and go through. And I liked, as you saw before in the last episode, I like to go through and sort of block out where the tables and everything are going to be, and the space that it's going to take up, so I know the sort of area that I have to work with. Now I've got quite a decent amount of area to go in and put tables in. So a quick rule of thumb is, if you are setting up blocks of tables, is you can actually do four across and just a multiple of 3. Any multiple of 3 will actually accommodate for 2 tables, sorry, 2 chairs or 2 benches and 1 table, and you'll always have the space that you need to fit everything in with that. And again, I want to go through and set up my the space that I need for. Oh, what's going on there? Set up the space that I need for the. My brain's gone blank. For the canteen. So I'm going to come up here and do this and just see if I can actually fit this in. So I'm going to square that off for now, just because that's going to be where I've got my wall, and I'm going to have my serving trays and areas up here. So let's see. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay, so that's going to allow for us nicely to fit this in. Still have that entrance there. So these are going to be where the sinks go, and then I have 1, 2, 3, and that just fits in nicely where I need all that stuff to go. So, and then I'm going to have the other sinks come across here, and I'm just going to put a rubbish bin there. So, okay, so let's get that there. Now we're going to close that wall off as well. Now I may come back and readdress this in the future and sort of open it up a little bit more, and sort of get that squared away. Now I'm actually going to end up running out of money trying to do this. Let's have a look and see if we can get money from somewhere else, going through and sorting this out. So we've got a couple of different options here that we can look at, like inmate health and those kinds of things. Now, inmate health is actually pretty easy to set up. So what I might do is get that so that I can utilize the money to go through and set up what I need to for the new canteen. So I'm gonna bring that down to there. And this will go through and set that up. Now, when you do connect foundations to each other's, sometimes you need to go through and repair some of the walls, or replace some of the walls that have been removed as part of the process. And again, I'm mainly just going to go through and set up a couple of these very quickly, just so that it's set up, ready to go, get this canteen up and kitchen up and running, and that will just allow us to go through and make sure that we can put everything in place. So we'll go through, okay, rotate that, so 1, 2, 3, so that'll give me some of the sinks that I need. Okay, fridge, 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 and then the cookers. Now you can just rotate items in the game just by hitting R, and that'll let you turn it around. So you need to sometimes pay attention to exactly what's going on, because it can be a little bit hard to tell which way they're facing sometimes. Particularly, I find the hardest ones are like the cookers and the fridge. But that's, you know, I mean, if you do pay close attention to it, then you can generally suss it out pretty quickly. So, but once my staff go through and set these up, then now I don't actually. Oh, there we go. I was going to say I don't actually have enough funds to do that, but I just met the requirement for the having 15 prison cells. Now, even though they don't have access to any canteens at the moment, they still meet the requirements for the prison cells to be able to get out. So now let's put a prison door in there. And that was actually probably what was causing me issue beforehand, was not being able to access through that. But that's fine. That's not going to be a huge issue for us. Now I'm going to bring this across to here. And I'm also going to put a door in here. Okay. So now we've gone through and we're setting up the areas that we need to be able to feed the prisoners. Now I'm just going to label these rooms. Okay, just so that where are they? So we've got the kitchen and canteen. Now this is just going to label these areas so that we can obviously go through and feed our prisoners that are in here. So we'll drop down the serving table and drop a bin down there as well. So, and that'll just minimize the actual build up of rubbish and everything in that area. So some of these didn't seem to join up properly, but that's fine. We'll get that squared away as well. So now sometimes the guards will stand in a doorway, or just be a bit of a pain. You can typically get them to move out of the way, and then that'll fix whatever glitch is going on with them and get them operating properly again. Now, just making sure that these are watered and that I've got power going into the building here. Now, the other thing that you need to be aware of is that any of these large jail doors, the staff and the workmen won't actually be able to walk through them by themselves. They'll actually need it to be opened by guards. So it always helps to have sort of staff designated in those areas and deployed, so that they can keep track of what's going on and make sure that the flow of your prison is working effectively to get people in and out. So, but as you can see, we've now met the requirements for the 15 prisoners that we needed. Now the reason this is flashing at the moment is because I haven't set up any areas for solitary confinement. So that's what's going on there. It's telling me that it's waiting for 3 prisoners because they're unable to be assigned to a cell, and it's not they can't be assigned to these, because I do have space for those. It's that I can't put them in solitary confinement. But I'm actually going to finish the episode here at this stage, guys. And in the next episode, I'm going to look at going through and setting up a few more of the Saving. I'm going to go through and set up a few more of the facilities that we're going to need. That's going to help us maintain our prisoners. We're going to go through and set up some solitary confinement areas. We're also going to go through and set up things like the prison maintenance and the education system. So we'll get those in place. But we're going to go through, set those up, and start to meet some of those requirements to improve the quality of our prison, and really focus on getting the prison to a much higher level. But until we do go through and do that, I've been Matthew for StopDropGame. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button. Check down in the doobly-doo for links to my Twitter, as well as my my other Let's Play for Turmoil. So that, like I said, there's about 4 or 5 episodes out there for that at the moment. So go and check those out as well. Leave a comment down in the doobly-doo for how you like to develop your prison, and any other games or any other comments that you want to leave, put down there as well. I'll be able to go through and check them out and potentially do those in the future. But until then, peace out, guys.